Hi everyone, it's time for episode 4 in our studio diaries. I've switched up the position for this episode of our studio diaries because I've been meaning to film it all day and the day is going on and on, it's getting later and later and there is no natural light anymore in my studio room. So we are in the main space because I have these two massive windows on the other side and it's still bright enough at 7 o'clock. So I'm going to try and keep this one a little shorter because you might have gathered from the slowly increasing length of the studio diaries that in a year's time I'll probably be having a full day video. So I'm going to try and keep this one shorter. What I want to talk about is 4 topics. Number 1, we're going to dive straight into some creativity and I want to talk about some weird new process I'm attempting around choosing colours and breaking myself out of my colour comfort zone. And that is all in preparation for my first proper out of office holiday. So that's topic number 2 we're going to talk about is how do you prepare for a holiday when you are a tiny business and everything goes through you. Number 3, I want to talk about the generosity of all of you, of our customers, and I want to talk about a particular gift which an amazing, lovely customer, Yvonne, gave me. 4th, very excitingly, we are hiring for the first ever creative role in the business, and so I want to explain where that's all come about from. And finally, tomorrow, I'm hoping to make it to this showing of a whole fairground collection that's on auction at the moment at Bonhams. And so if I can get in there to have a look, then I'm going to include some videos showing you all the crazy stuff that it looks like is going on auction. So there may be a little segue into an extra piece of me on a different day. Maybe there won't be. Fingers crossed, eh? So let's dig in. So first up, I want to talk about my new experiment I'm doing around choosing colour palettes. And I have talked before lots in all our freestyle virtual courses. Every time anyone comes to the studio, I always talk about how important I think colour is. I think in the hierarchy of what makes a good design, colour is absolutely right at the top. And to be honest, if the colour's not right, it doesn't matter what the rest is. Colour's everything. But we all have a tendency to stick to colour palettes that we're comfortable with, that we're used to, and it can be quite hard to break yourself out into experimenting with something new. So the other day I was scrolling on Instagram and my nail salon, where I go get my nails done, posted this really cool picture of some amazing nails. I put it to the side and in the background I saw this kind of colour swatch book, and a bit of Googling and searching I found said book. And it is this tiny little book which is a Japanese book of colour combinations, and the entire book is just full of different combinations of colours. And these are combinations that I would never try really, but quite a few of them are instantly quite grabbing and I thought, oh, I'd love to try and stitch in a combination like that. So I spent today with my book and with my other favourite book, my colour swatch chart, and I tried to piece together loads of colour palettes. And I wanted to try and match the colour palettes and almost let someone else choose the colours and see what that looks like when I combine it with my designs. Now, in all our freestyle classes and all kinds of creative classes I do, I'm all about trying to find a process to your own creativity. Having a process to your creativity means that every time you get a creative block or anytime you doubt yourself, you have something to go back to, you have a process to go back to, you have a kind of way of getting yourself out of a creative lull. So this is quite an interesting idea. Now, the challenging thing is that when you're looking at colour palettes like this, you know, the very exact shade really does matter. Because if the blue is slightly too tealy, the blue is slightly too purpley, then you end up with quite a different feel to the overall piece. So matching up colours is hard. So I went through the book side by side, ordered loads of skeins of colours, and then with the help of Izzy in the studio, granted, she took all my skeins and tried to work out my logic of what I'd ordered. She then pieced everything together into these little bags, and these little bags are the colour palettes, and each one is labelled up like page 55. So I can go to page 55 and think, oh, what's that colour palette? And in here should be my match. Now, Izzy pointed out to me, as she did it, that a lot of these colours aren't exactly right. So this could go awry a little bit, but sort of fun to experiment with palettes you'd never usually approach. So I got all my colour palettes all in little bags. Then I went to a fabric shop. My local fabric shop is the best fabric shop in the world, Ray Stitch. And I'm very lucky that it is a sort of 10-minute walk away. And I think they're very lucky to have me a 10-minute walk away too, buying all their fabrics. Although I'm not sure the person who had to cut half a metre of every single fabric felt like that, but there you go. So I went and chose loads of fabrics, new colours I've not worked with before, colours that are a bit out of my comfort zone, like this lime, and this is a very vibrant pink. Like, I like bright colour, but this is, ooh. And now what I want to do is go through and almost pair a colour palette with each one. Now this will link to the next bit in the video because I am going on holiday on Friday, and my first proper holiday actually ever since I started the business. And obviously I need some sewing to take with me. And what I want to do is, I have these embroideries that I've done in these large rectangular frames, and these are kind of larger than actually the rectangular frame that's on the website. These are a larger size. I love the size of them, I love the scale. It gives you enough area and density in these bits to be able to test out some really fun stitches. And so what I want to do is, before I go on holiday, pair some colour palettes up with some fabric. I happen to also have some drawings that I have done from, God, maybe 3 years ago, like really a long time ago, that I have been wanting to sew for ages. So I'm gonna try and match up a colour palette, match my drawing, pair it all together, take it on holiday, da 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 da. 2 weeks time, I'll record the next Studio Diaries, and hopefully you will see some interesting new pieces and you'll think, whoa, those are unusual colours. That's my colour, my new colour experiment. Following on from that, number 2 is all about preparing the business for the holiday. And I have been on holiday before, obviously, since I started the business. But I get a lot of comments a lot of the time from people saying, God, you have so much energy, you know, how are you doing everything? And one of the things is, I'm at this point in time, it may not appear that way, but pretty burnt out. I can just feel it in myself that I really, really need a break. I need a refresh, I need time away from everything to kind of reset. And so for the first time ever, I am actually setting it out of office, and I am going, and you know, apart from in case of emergency, I'm going to have 10 days away from everything. And that is fine. But now the business is quite different. It is actually quite challenging to prepare yourself, prepare the team, prepare everything for the fact I'm going away for 10 days. This has come at a really good time for us, because Jen, who you will have seen if you follow us on Instagram, I always talk about her. Jen shifted at the start of this month to focus the majority of her time on marketing. And one of the big things we had to do that was, we have actually for the first time ever formed a marketing schedule. And that means that whilst I'm away, whereas in the past what I do is I just post on Instagram saying, hey, I'm going away, I'll be back in 2 weeks, and then I just don't post a single thing. Actually, this time we are handing over and I am scheduling content. But I no longer just have Instagram, I now have a blog, I have emails, we have YouTube, we have our Instagram, and so now I have to schedule my content across every single channel. And that has been great because it has forced us to get organised. I will show you on the screen to this side, I will show you the big marketing spreadsheet, because Jen pulled this together and it is magic. It feels super intimidating to begin with because my to-do list is sort of longer than my arm, and it's quite intimidating to get up to the point of thinking forward. I never usually think forward. I'm sort of very immediate in, oh my God, I got this new book and I want to show you all right now. But I'm having to be a little bit better at, I got this new book and I know you're all going to want to see it, but I'm going to show you it in 10 days time when I'm doing a video on XYZ. And that means that it just gives us a lot more ability to time block everything and make sure we actually create really meaningful content rather than me being so scattergun all over the place. I don't know what I'm doing. So it will be really interesting. This Studio Diaries is going to come out sort of middle of my holiday, and it will be really interesting if you've noticed that I'm away. I mean, maybe you will have done, maybe it'll be super obvious, but let's see. Okay, third up, I want to talk about generosity of all of you. I'm not doing a very good job at keeping this video short, but hopefully you're still with me. I feel like I'm only trying to make it short by just talking faster, which no one needs that. Anyway, I want to talk about the generosity of people. So this week, last week, I taught a couple of different workshops. I taught one group workshop here, which was for all my studio members, and we were exploring the specifics of Pekingese work, which is a really fun stitch. I've got a video on it if you want to see. And then I taught one last night at the Bank of England, which was a totally different vibe, all in a corporate setting, but people I think who need embroidery more than anyone else in the world. One kind thing I have this amazing customer, Yvonne, who's been stitching with me for years, and she has been sort of collecting her fables. She's an incredibly warm, kind person, and when she came to the studio, she brought me these books. I hadn't seen her for about 9 months, and so she's kind of been travelling and done all sorts of things since she'd last been travelling. But she brought me one of these books, and these are by the writer Angela McAllister, and I have to show you them because they are absolutely beautiful. This was not actually the one she got me. She brought me these two here, A World Full of Animal Stories, or here, A World Full of Nature Stories. And she just said she'd come across them and she just would love me to embroider from them. And they have the most amazing sort of emotive sounding titles, like things you really want to embroider, like The Theft from the Sun, which is a story from North America, or this one, story from Korea, The Big Dipper Brothers. Oh God, I mean, it super makes me, like How the Sun Was Made. That one's from Australia. Or this one from Europe, A Garment to the Moon. Like, these are all just the titles, so emotive. I can immediately, you can start piecing together narratives, you can start imagining motifs, you can imagine characters. Magic. So she brought me these two. Each one of them is illustrated by a different illustrator, and honestly, the illustrations are absolutely sort of beautiful throughout. I mean, they are designed for children, but I mean, if you know my aesthetic, I guess lots of people would think my stuff's designed for children. I'm an adult. Anyway, so she bought me the two, and I actually ended up buying all of the rest of Angela McAllister's. I'll put a link below the video to these books, but these are just absolute magic. I mean, God, look at this. Look at that, the inside of that one. So I feel like it is, firstly, amazing to have that new inspiration source. But secondly, it is so kind and thoughtful. I can't tell you how much it means to me when someone outside of kind of interacting with me thinks of me and thinks, oh, Epi will like those. I think it's these virtual relationships that actually are real. They're no different from anything in real life. And these are real friends. And I feel like we all know each other and we know each other's aesthetic. So I feel like what a kind gift, what a positive sort of aren't people great moment. So that I want to show you, get these books. So fourth up, we are hiring. We are a really small, kind of very tight team. We've got Georgina, Katie, Jen, Izzy and me. And then we have quite a few freelancers who help us when we're busy. We've got like Joanne, Helena, Anna, various people who come in and help us when we're busy. And then we have a wider team of like branding helpers, everything like that. But super tight who's in the studio every day, and everyone in the team is operationally focused, really operational, marketing, that sort of thing. Until this point in time, there's never been anyone creatively focused, and so all the creative side of the business is me, and that is how I like it. But over the last year we've had quite a few more kind of collaborations going on, and I've also just expanded what we're doing. So we now have, say, YouTube, we have a journal, we have a membership program. We were trying to, you know, all this stuff which we didn't have before. And the issue is I have added to my plate and never removed from my plate. And so what I am looking for now is someone to come help me creatively. And if you are a creative, you will know how scary that is. You sort of feel very exposed and very protective at the same time of your own creative vision. And it feels really hard to bring someone else in. And also, you know, if you watched the studio tour, you saw how chaotic I am. Like, I am not a tidy creative worker. And so to be able to also put someone in a position where they can assist me is really hard. But you kind of get to a point where you have two choices. You either break down, you stop trying to do so much, or you get help. And I personally don't want to break down, and I also don't want to stop doing things. Like, I really enjoy all this stuff. So what I do need, the only answer is help. So we're hiring in for a role, someone to help me, not from a design perspective, but from all the bits that go around the designs. So all the things that helped me take a design from just being a design into a kit. So writing the instruction booklets, writing the how-to guides, or if I know I really want to explore a specific topic, like maybe I'm really into medieval illuminations, to have someone who I can say, right, can you just find out loads of things about medieval illuminations? Let's find out the meanings, let's find out everything, and have someone to help me start researching pieces. So we spend more time getting straight into the good stuff of the designing new stuff. That is the hope. So super exciting, always exciting to get kind of new ideas, meet new people, and also I feel like a step in a really exciting direction personally. So, 5th up, hopefully now I'm going to break to a nice little video from the Bonhams exhibition. Let's see. Okay, so as I am recording this from a slightly crummy hotel room in Toulouse, you can probably guess I did not make it to the auction before I came away, and so instead what I'm going to give you is a little video overview from the website. Not what I had intended, but still interesting, hopefully nonetheless. So here we go. This is the collection of one man, Ross Hutchison, who spent his life collecting fairground memorabilia from all over the world, from sort of Asia, Europe, everywhere. And these pieces are quite incredible, from painted signs to figurines. If you like my style, then I think you're going to like this. So I'm going to put the link underneath this video so you can check out the full collection. There are hundreds of items and you could lose a lot of time exploring this. And that's it, episode 4 of the Studio Diaries. I am off on holiday in 2 days' time, and so I am hoping next time I come around I can show you what I got up to, went away, and show you all the pieces I stitched, and update you on anything else we're up to. So thanks for watching, and sorry I didn't do a very good job at keeping it short, but oh god, I'm a talker.